Aloha, I'm Soraya Lutrana. I'm one of the top real estate agents right here on the Big Island. And I help buyers, maybe like you, relocate to the Big Island, investors find perfect investment properties, but also sellers get top dollar for their properties. And today we're going to talk about the real estate market currently in April, March, May 2025. And the reason why I'm going to get into it is because I'm getting a lot of questions from buyers recently who are asking about where's the market headed. They're a little bit worried about the news headlines and trying to understand, as real estate agents who are in it every day full time and doing so many transactions, where's the market headed? What is changing? Is it relaxing a bit where the buyers can start asking for maybe more concessions or things to be changed? So are we in a seller's market or are we in a buyer's market? What we're going to do today is we're going to go straight into the data and get right into it. So one of the big factors that I think we need to keep in mind as we go into this data is look at interest rates. I think interest rates, of course, have a huge impact on your day-to-day life. And the cost of borrowing $100,000 is a lot more than maybe it has been over the last couple months. So I want to show you where the interest rates are so that you can see the history and keep that in mind when we're starting to look at the data going forward. And the reason why I want to get into, the lending side of it is because about half of my clients are cash buyers because they are selling their property on the mainland, and I've helped them find an agent for that. And then the other half is typically using lending. They might be first-time home buyers or investors. Typically investors use a lot of lending and seller financing and things of that nature. So currently, if you're just looking at the Freddie Mac, it shows you that the 30-year is 6.86% today. And that if you're doing a 15-year, it's right around 6%. But what I really think is interesting to see is the history from the last year. This is a graph that kind of shows you what it looks like. So you can see that about a year ago, we were right around 7%. We dipped down all the way to about 6 in September. And then we went a little bit back up. It was kind of like up and down right around November to January. And of course, I purchased a place right in January where that little peak went up. That's me. And so that was right above 7%. And then now we're just below it. So you see it went a little down and then it's creeping back up. And so the reason why I want you to keep that in mind is because when you're a buyer, the buyer's mindset is always that at some point the market will turn and they will get their turn, right? And so we've been waiting and waiting for that to happen. And even though there was a dip right here in September, I would say a lot of buyers did not take advantage of that. So because that's right around the elections, right around where everything was getting pretty loud at that time in terms of, attention, right? So let's look into the real estate market on the Big Island and what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all the data uploaded right here. All right, so this table shows you the number of sales over the last month. So you can see the month of April 2025 is the second column. The first column is April 2024. So you can see the difference from last year to this year. The other third and fourth columns essentially just tell you the number difference, whether it's a negative with the brackets or it's a positive change. So more sales or less sales. And then the other half of the table kind of explains to you year to date this year versus year to date last year. Because it's good to keep in mind like the big picture of the last couple of months versus just looking at a snapshot of this month and last year, same month, and what that looks like. So this kind of tells you if something is creeping up, creeping down, what the difference is overall versus just that 1 month. So let's get right into the data. So if you're looking at the Big Island total for residential, last year there were 182 sales, this year 154 sales, which is a difference of 28, which is about a dip of about 15%. If you're looking at the year-to-date difference, we're looking at 663 sales last year, this year 652, so it's only a difference difference of 11 sales total for the residential market, so that's single family homes and things like that. So it's only a 1.66% difference. That's very, very low. It's very, very similar to last year is what this is saying. Now, if you're looking at condos, last year in April, 78 condos sold. This year there are 48, so there's quite a bit of a difference. So 30 condos less, which comes out to about a 39% difference in sales. So less sales in condos in April. And so if you look at the trend over the year from 2025 versus 2024, in 2024 at this time we had sold about 211 condos versus this year is 186 condos. So total difference is about 25. So that's about 12% less than last year. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the Big Island is a very small market. So any changes in like 5 to 10 to 20 increments are pretty significant versus another island such as Oahu. So that's just something to keep in mind. So overall, it looks like condos, the demand is going down. So we're having less sales. Now, I want to show you the market right here in Kona so that you can see the difference. So the entire Big Island. Now we're going to go specifically into the Kona district, which is called North Kona for MLS purposes. So if you're looking at residential, last year in April, 32 properties sold. This year, 28 sold, which is a difference of 4. And that's about a 12.5% decrease in sales. And last year, right around this time in 2024, 136 properties sold. This year, we have 135. So really insignificant difference of one property that's been not sold this year. So if you're looking overall at the residential market, I would say it's a wash. Don't even bother. It's about the same as last year. So if you're a buyer and you're always seeing these price reductions and things of that nature, you're seeing that there's still a strong demand for property. This is what this is telling you, that buyers are still purchasing properties, even though the market might be different than last year in terms of price per square foot, which we'll get it right into next. Now, if you're looking at the condos in Kona specifically, in 2024, in April, there are 47 sales, and this year there are 22 sales. So that's about a 25 unit, so 25 condo difference. It's about 53% less sales in condos, which is what we've been feeling and telling all of the condo owners lately. So last year there was 114 properties or condos that sold. This year there's 106 condos that sold total. So that's only a difference of 8. So that's about a dip in 7%. 7% is somewhat significant, but it's not as big as a 53% dip that we're seeing on a monthly basis. So let's go into the actual price differences from last year and this year and the trend we're seeing over the last couple months. By the way, for those of you who are wondering what I'm wearing, it was pouring today in Hawaii, right here in Kona, just absolutely like monsoon rain. So I get soaked on my way here, so that's why I changed with what I had locally, and so this is why I look like that. But I do have my nice hat with my brand on there. All right, so let's look into the median sale prices so that you have an idea of the dollar per square foot, the difference in where the market is, where the demand is. So if we're looking at the entire Big Island, you're looking at condos right now. The average condo last year that was selling, or median condo that was selling last year, was right around $787,000 versus this year in April, it's $582,000. That's a difference of 200 grand per price of condo. And it really is what we've been noticing. Mostly the buyers are looking for more affordable, lower price units is what they really want. I think because of the returns, we're seeing that a lot of 2 bedrooms are very expensive. A lot of people are asking for really high price point for those. And so a lot of 1 bedrooms are more affordable right now. And so a lot of people are rigging in, really, if you're like an investor, into the 1 bedrooms that have ocean views and things of that nature. And so if you're looking at the price difference from last year, just like the first couple months, it was $710,000 was the median price versus this year is $660,000. So we're seeing that the demand is really for lower price condos. The buyer's really not interested in buying very expensive condos at this time. Now here's what we're looking at when we're looking at the residential market, in 2024, April 2024, the average price of a residential property was $533,000 versus this year is $605,000, which is actually an increase of about 14%. Now, if you're looking at the first couple months, right, like how's the year trending? In 2024, the average price was $525,000 and this year is $604,000. So what we're seeing is that the buyer, when they're looking at residential properties, they're willing to pay more than they were last year. Now, that might be because of what they can actually afford and what that looks like. So now we're going to go into the Kona market specifically. So if you're looking in the Kona side or any other like micro type area, you might notice a different market because the demand is so different depending on where you're looking. And so that's why it's very important to have a very well-educated realtor who's working with you, like me, because they can advise you on what the microclimate of that area is. We, of course, just like anywhere in the US or the world, there are some neighborhoods that no matter the market, they will sell because it's such a high demand area, because whatever it may be, maybe it's the ocean view, maybe it's the location, maybe it's the school district, whatever it may be, some areas are always more desirable than others. In some areas, you may have new builds that are coming up, and maybe the buyer who's very well educated is holding on and just waiting for the new builds to be available. So this is why I think it's very interesting to work with a buyer and educate them and let them know like what's going on in the future, and maybe that will have an impact on your timeline. But in the meantime, I do want to show you kind of a semi-macro area. So I'm going to show you the Kona district, so the North Kona, the price differences in that district from last year to this year. So if you're looking at a residential property, last year the average or median price was right around 1.15 million, and this year it's 1.275 million. And so that's a difference of $125,000. It's actually 11% increase in price point. Now, if you're looking at the median prices in 2024, the first couple months to 2025, you'll notice that it's exactly the same number, which is 1,350,000. Now, if you've been looking at all my market videos or my videos where I talk about the real estate market in Hawaii, I've always mentioned last year that the average price point for a home was right around 1.3 million, 1.35. And so this is kind of showing that it's still the case today, just like it was last year. Now, if you're looking at a condominium, last year you were probably purchasing something around the price point of $775,000 versus this year, most buyers are interested in properties right around $547,000. And so that's about a $227,000 price difference. So the buyer's budget is about 30% less than it was last year, even though the rates were about the same. And now if you look at the year gradually, the demand, what that looked like in 2024 versus 2025, you'll see that in 2024, the average price point that a buyer was looking at was right around $682,000 versus this year is $672,000. Now, in my opinion, that's about the same, because when you're looking at a $10,000 difference, when you're negotiating for a condo, there's so much that can go into that. So I would say that's about a wash as well. So here's a little bit of a snippet about the market right here in Hawaii. So what are some of the affordable opportunities that we may have or you may have as a buyer in 2025? Now, I think if you're a buyer, and of course, this is basically saying that most buyers are looking either at around the same price point if they're in a Kona area, but if you're looking at the entire island, condos or houses, people are looking at a little bit less expensive. So if you're looking at a house on the east side, there's so many opportunities for you because Hilo is very, very affordable. You can get a new build in Hilo right now for under $750,000, and they look really amazing, you guys. So here is a little bit of a slide that will show you some of the property, or one property in particular that I'm thinking about in Hilo that's under $750,000. It's a new build, it's a beautiful property, and you could buy this house right now. Now, Hilo proper is a little bit more expensive than the nearby areas. If you have a little bit of a lower budget, but you're looking for honestly a great bang for your $1,000. Keaau is a great area for that. You can get between 1 and 3 acres. For example, this property is in Keaau. It has 3 acres. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, newly built home with a 2-car garage and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath that's attached to the garage. So basically it's an ohana with a kitchenette. So if you were to move in there into that property full time, you could get a hosted rental in that 1-bedroom, 1-bath with the kitchenette. You could use that as an Airbnb, and you would still have 3 acres of ag land as well, where you could do tons of things with that. So here's some pictures about the property that I've been mentioning. Again, this house is currently for sale, so give me a call if you're interested in this property, but I think it's a great opportunity. Now, if you're looking in the Kona area and you are looking to find a single family home under $1 million, there's also amazing properties right now because there's a lot more inventory. And so there's a lot more properties for sale that you couldn't find before. So this is an example of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's in Pu'alani Estates, which is a great neighborhood. It has a kid park at the bottom. There's a soccer field. Tons of kids will play baseball and have like their little soccer camp down there. If you like to work out and run, it's a great hill. It's very, very hilly, but it's a great workout. And honestly, it's so close to everything. But here are some of the pictures about this property. Again, it's under $1 million. And I personally think it's a great opportunity if you're looking to buy right here in Kona. If you're an investor and you're looking for a condo, I think this is the time to purchase. Now, I know real estate agents say that all the time. Now, if you look at my prior videos, I don't typically say that, but I really think that this is one of the times where you really should rig in. The reason why is because this is a slow season. Right now is a slow time. If you look at the air traffic going through the Kona airport, May and June are always the slowest month out of the entire year. Now, why is that? I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's because of graduations, end of school, that type of stuff. People are kind of tied up. And so then after that, in July, August, this is kind of the ramp up to the high season. And so if you're looking to purchase an investment property, this may be the great time because there's not a lot of buyers here physically who are looking for one. And as you saw, there's a lot more inventory and demand for lower price condos. So this may be a great time for you to come in, negotiate. Now, you don't have to be crazy. We don't want to like put in offers or 30% below asking. It depends on the property, but just have an open mind that you may be able to get a lot more concessions than you were able to get a few months ago. So here is a video of one of my condo listings that's currently for sale. I'm also going to put a QR code so that you can see more opportunities on the Big Island, but I really would be great investments right now in 2025. So if you're watching this on your TV, scan this QR code with your phone. It will take you to a bunch of properties that are currently for sale and that I think would be great opportunities for you right now. Thanks for tuning in. I have a ton more videos on my channel, so please check them out, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Aloha, have a good one.